So 1.20 has just recently released, and with it comes a brand new difficult achievement. That achievement, of course, is Smithing with Style, which requires you to find and use all of these armor trims. Now these trims are available in a wide variety of hard to reach places, which is why I'm here today to show you how to find all of them easily. So without any further ado, let's get started with trim number 1. So for this first trim, you're going to want to head over to an ocean monument, which you can see behind me down there. Finding these is fairly straightforward, as if you explore the ocean for long enough, you'll eventually find one. But if you haven't found one this way, you can always purchase a map to one from a cartographer villager. Once you're here, you'll need to get inside and find the Elder Guardians. Each Elder Guardian has a 20% chance to drop the Tide Smithing template, and since there's 3 Elder Guardians per ocean monument, you'll only have to look through 1 or 2 to find it. And as you can see, we have just gotten the Tide Armor Trim, and this was actually the first Elder Guardian I killed, so we actually got pretty lucky there. The next trim you'll need is the Rib Smithing template, which can be found in Nether Fortress chests at a 6.7 spawn chance per chest. Now chances are you've already discovered a Nether Fortress in your world, as it is necessary to progress and get an Elytra, which you'll probably want if you're going to need to do this much exploring for smithing templates. However, if you've already looted this fortress before the update or didn't find the template, you'll need to find a new one. To do this, starting from any Nether Fortress, move in the positive Z direction, as most fortresses tend to spawn on this axis. If you've never found a fortress in your world, continue to increase your Z value while occasionally moving around on the X axis, and you'll be able to find a fortress rather quickly. Once you've arrived at a new Nether Fortress, you're just going to want to loot all the chests in it, and it shouldn't take too long to find the armor trim. So there it is, we've just found the Rib Armor Trim. And yeah, that wasn't too bad at all, that didn't take too long. And just remember that if you don't find it in your first fortress, you can always go look for another one with the method I explained earlier. While you're in the Nether, perhaps you've come across a bastion while searching for a new Nether Fortress. If you have, that's great, as our next smithing template is found inside this structure. With an 8.3% chance to be in a bastion chest, your odds are pretty good of finding the Snout Armor Trim within 1 or 2 bastions. While looking for bastions, it is important to know that while they can be found in most places, bastions will not spawn in basalt deltas, so keep flying around the Nether while looking out for this massive structure and avoiding the deltas, and you'll be sure to find one rather quickly. Once you've found a bastion, a good tip to get to the chests guarded by piglin brutes is to bring multiple boats, as placing them near the chests will prevent the piglins from reaching you by trapping them inside. Once the piglins have been taken care of, the bastion is pretty easy to loot, so just go around and check enough chests and you should eventually find the Snout Armor Trim. So the next armor trim you're going to need is the Vex Armor Trim, which is found in woodland mansions with a 50% spawn rate per chest. Now woodland mansions are pretty tricky to find on your own. You're unlikely to come across one just by flying around, so what I recommend is buying a map from a cartographer villager and following it until you arrive at a woodland mansion. So once you've found the woodland mansion, you're just going to want to go ahead and break inside and start looting some chests. Because it has a 50% spawn chance per chest, you're pretty likely to find it within your first woodland mansion, but if you don't, you can always buy another map from the cartographer and go to a different mansion. Alright, so we have just found the Vex Armor Trim, and yeah, chests are pretty scarce in the woodland mansion, but there are a couple rooms that will always have them, like this room right here. And yeah, just look around the woodland mansion long enough, and if you get lucky, you should find this armor trim. The next smithing template you're going to need is the Spire Armor Trim, which is located in End cities. This smithing template does only have a 6.7% chance to spawn per chests, so you're probably going to have to look around a couple End cities until you find what you're looking for. To locate the End cities, there's not really a super efficient way to find them. Basically, just get out your Elytra and just fly around the end for a bit until you do happen to spot one. They do stand out quite a lot though, so hopefully you shouldn't have to be searching for too long until you find one. So we have just found our first End city here, and it does appear to be quite a big one, which is good because that does mean we have a pretty high chance of finding this armor trim. So hopefully we can get lucky here and find it first try. And just like that, we found the Spire Armor Trim. Now, if you don't find this within your first End city, which can happen, you're just going to want to keep looking around the end for another End city until you find one that does have a chest that has the armor trim inside of it. The next armor trim you're going to need is down here in the Ancient City. Now, something that's unique about the Ancient City compared to the other structures in this tutorial is that there's actually 2 armor trims found in here. One of which is the hardest armor trim to find in the game, that being silence with a 1.2% chance to spawn in an ancient city chest. There's also another armor trim, which is wood, which has a 5% chance to spawn, which is a lot more likely, but still, there's a chance that you're going to have to look through multiple ancient cities to find these armor trims, as each ancient city only has about 15 to 20 chests in it. Now, if you're wondering how you're going to find all the ancient cities you need for these 2 armor trims, I'd recommend checking out my tutorial on how to find ancient cities, since I went into depth about a lot of the details that you'll need to know when looking for these ancient cities, but I'm not going to repeat all that information here, since that would probably take too long. So if you are interested, I'd recommend checking that out. Once you've arrived at an ancient city, you're just going to want to go around, being careful not to set the shriekers off, and loot as many chests as you can. Keep in mind that this will take a while. I'd expect you'd have to search at least 4, if not more, ancient cities until you could get both of these armor trims. Eventually, once you search enough ancient cities, you will find these 2 armor trims here, and be one step closer to completing this achievement. The final armor trim you're going to need to get this achievement is the Wayfinder armor trim, which can be found in Trail Ruins. Now, Trail Ruins are Minecraft's newest structure, and to find these, you're going to be wanting to look in very specific biomes. Now, Trail Ruins can spawn in an old-growth taiga, the regular taiga biome, the snowy taiga, jungle biome, or an old-growth birch forest. Once you're in one of these biomes, you're going to want to look for some colored terracotta on the floor, as well as some gravel next to it to indicate that there is a Trail Ruins here. Now, these can be quite difficult to find, but if you keep searching through the biomes I mentioned, while searching for colored blocks that stand out, such as the terracotta behind me, you will eventually find one of these Trail Ruins. And once you're here, just excavate the site and brush all the suspicious gravel until you find the armor trim. Oh, it looks like we found an armor trim here. Is this the right one that we need, though? And it is! Wow, that was actually really lucky. There's actually 4 armor trims you can find in the Trail Ruins. And we actually got the one that we needed on the first try. So now we actually have all the armor trims we need to get this achievement. Of course, you won't always get this lucky, and since there's 4 different armor trims that can be found in the Trail Ruins, and you only need one of them, if you don't get the one you need from a certain Trail Ruins, you can always just look for a new one. And now you've done it! You've collected all these trims, so the final step is to simply use them in a smithing table. Just remember to make a copy of these trims with diamonds before using them, otherwise you'll have to find a new version again if you ever want to use the trim again later. So to close this video out, let's do a quick time lapse of applying all of these armor trims. And here we go, this is our last trim, which means we have just gotten the achievement. Smithing with Style has been achieved, and we still have all of our smithing templates and our newly trimmed armor as well. There you go. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this tutorial helped you, and if it did, please let me know by liking and subscribing. Comment down below any other tutorials you want me to make, and with that, until next time, goodbye.